Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Excited to be back with you guys, Nate and Josh here, talking some futures looks for the NBA 25-26 season. This is our first episode of the year, but we are coming to you strong as soon as we get those games ready for Tuesday night here with the Rockets and the Thunder playing. And then we've also got the other game there with the Dubs and the Lakers. So we're going to have some fun here opening night, but this is some futures looks. So we've got 3 each here for you. I think Nate might even have a little bonus look for you. Let's get right into it, Nate. I'll allow you to talk about your squad here, the Boston Celtics. So what do you got for us?
Look, I don't love the Celtics' chances this year to win a lot. To win in the playoffs, but I love the idea of them just finishing above 500. I love the idea of betting on them for this number, which I just think has gone too far. It opened at 43.5, and people just continue to fade them. That is assuming a lot of things. It is assuming that the Celtics cutting ties with Drew and KP means they just are punting on the season. It's assuming that they're not going to be competitive in terms of Brad Stevens potentially making moves this year, not just next year. It's assuming that Jason Tatum won't come back in March, which the reporting indicates he very well might. And assuming that Joe Mazzulla is going to be okay with like playing lineup and in any way approaching tanking, which is if you just zoom out for a minute in the NBA, like the Utah Jazz being like, we're not tanking anymore. Like nobody's tanking fully right now because the lottery odds are flat, right? The Jazz were like the textbook of like, oh my God, like we did all that for the 5th pick. Are you kidding me? So no, I don't think the Celtics organizationally are in any way going to tank on the season. They're going to be trying pretty much every night. And there's just going to be situations where they just outmath the other team. They're still on their 3-point shiz, right? I mean, they're going to absolutely launch 50, 60 threes. And that's, they were better at it last year. That's part of the reason, though, they went 33-8 on the road. Just absolutely absurd. You just take the crowd out of it if you're hitting. And the other team, you just get buried under the math. And that's going to be their approach again. Go ahead, put a bigger chip on Jaylen Brown's shoulder by telling him that somebody's showing him this win total, right? Looks like he might miss the first 2 weeks or something with a hamstring. But, maybe that's why you're getting a little bit more value here. But this is the freaking Eastern Conference. Orlando went 500 last year with maybe the worst offense by rating in the NBA, right? Because their 3 best players missed 70% of the season, basically. So if you assume even like average injury luck here for the Celtics, I think they can get above 500. I think they can be quite competitive with this roster.
I'm only going to agree with you through the lens of how bad the East is outside of, and I think there's no more real middle class in the East is what we're saying. There's the uber rich, and then there's like kind of the poor in the Eastern Conference. And I think the Celtics might make up the middle class essentially, because I don't even think the Bucks are going to hang around. Like they're going to be lower middle class when it comes to the Eastern Conference in this one. And I think that's a big reason, specifically talking about Milwaukee, that I don't disagree with you. Also ready to throw Philly in there as like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to rule out that they could be part of the lower elite class in terms of Philly, but there's really 2 scenarios for them. Either you're lower elite or you are lower because you don't have Joel Embiid, and then, Paul George doesn't look quite as good anymore, et cetera. So like, I do think that like the likelihood that the players that they have stay healthy, and that's is high and higher than other guys. I don't think Giannis has any help. So I think you're going to start to see Kyle Kuzma for what he is, and it's going to be a problem out there. Obviously, then you've got the injuries to guys like to Tyrese. So I agree. Although that my only thing here is because you brought up Jaylen Brown in the first couple of weeks of the season. He is a guy that I'd be worried about if his role and his duty is to take on that much. Then I would be worried that if he's crashing into guys where he's at his best, using his physicality, using his in transition sort of stuff. You can't play like that as the 1A anymore. You were the 1B who got to sort of watch Tatum do his thing and run the offense. And then when it came time to do your thing, yours was a lot more ISO ball. It can't really be that way for him anymore. Although he's going to be fine. I still love him as a player. I'd be worried about the overuse, and maybe he's taking that into consideration. But you brought up a point that I was going to make about the Magic, which is why I love that you said it, and I can segue into my love for them to just make the Eastern Conference Finals. I did hit them to make the finals and win that game in the Eastern Conference Finals that I think they'll make, and that was 5.5 to 1 on that one. But yeah, I'm here for it, man. Like I am so here for it. The moment they made the Bane trade, it's going to be chalky in the eyes of some who are like, well, yeah, you're so simple that you think that adding 1 3-point shooter is going to make this team better than it was last year. And it's like, yeah, it's that. And I do think Paolo made that leap. And I think he was basically making it last year and will cut down on the mid-range shots. That is the biggest sort of knock on his game, is settling for shooting over guys because he is taller than most guys guarding him. And he's settling for jump shots that are easy because he gets tired, doesn't want to figure out how to get around the defense. I think a lot of that gets cleaned up with, by the way, point guard Desmond Bane, in addition to very good spot up shooter Desmond Bane. This dude played point for the Memphis Grizzlies. How many games in the last 3 seasons where Ja was absent, and especially last year where he finally set career highs in assist percentage, assists per game, especially with Ja out. So I think he's going to be an absolutely monster addition to their team, in addition to already being the type of Magic player you want on defense to add to everything. It's like you just quadrupled the value of KCP from last season with Desmond Bane coming in. So I love that, in addition to the leap that I think guys are going to make. And Franz also has nowhere to go but up in terms of shooting 20% from 3. Like, I just don't think it can be that bad again. So love this squad, man. I think they're going to do work in the East.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Paolo making that leap and just controlling things. I mean, he's 100-1 to win MVP, but I do think there's an outside chance, right, that he could be in that conversation. Just him taking the leap and carrying this team. I think, they correlate a little bit with the Knicks in terms of, like, I was looking at Knicks to win their division and Magic to win their division as the best partner there in terms of a parlay. Because I think if you like Magic over Hawks, I think the Knicks are pretty much a lock to win this Atlantic. We talked about the Celtics, and then there's 3 teams that really nobody expects to be competitive in that division. And so that leads to a really easy strength of schedule. And that leads to why we're talking about the Knicks getting one of the top 2 seeds here. You see the numbers up here. You can actually get a better number if the exact playoff seeding is available at your book, because Knicks are about plus 300 to get either the 1 or the 2. So if you split this unit and put it on both of those, you're looking at about a 50% better return as long as it does hit. Or you can double down, and then, I mean, yes, you would lose more if they get neither. But I think that them and or the Cavs finishing in that top 1-2 order because of strength of schedule to a degree, because this Knicks team has rebuilt their bench in a way that's really going to be conducive to the regular season, with Clarkson, Yabusele, even Marjon Beauchamp, and finally getting a healthy Mitch Robinson. And you've got an upgrade at coach to a degree, at least in terms of, managing guys, right? So you don't wear people into the ground. That schedule is one of the easiest when you look at schedule ratings from November to January, and then in March and April. Like, they have a little bit of a tough stretch in February. Otherwise, it's just pretty damn easy. And if you do like their playoff stuff, like that's been hit pretty hard as far as them to meet the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. Now it's close to even money, because that's just the expectation for this team. Expectations are so high that they understand that this is the year, that's why you trust them to not let up and lose winnable regular season games.
And the Knicks, I think we're going to see the first ever real, like, Knicks fans effect on the betting markets for the Knicks. The way that you see the LA markets for the Lakers just skyrocket and get bloated because people in Europe and Asia are betting on the Lakers because they're also Laker fans. Like, the Knicks fandom is not only real in New York, it's like insane how real it is for them. And so the expectations for the Knicks fans jump, and those guys who are also bettors are all hitting this for New York. Like, expectations are going to be there for New York. The 2.5 makes sense. You're basically saying, like, it's them and the Cavs, and that they are tier 1. And then you are placing teams like the Magic and probably the Hawks. And then whatever the top form of the Sixers is, might still be putting it below that, because I think you still cap Joel at a certain amount of games that would limit them, right? If he's capped at like 50 games, well, that's 32 that they're playing without him. So I think this is a good look for the regular season. We're going to play with depth. I'm talking you just get used to it, please, that the Knicks are my squad and I love them. It doesn't inhibit my ability to bet on or around them. But we are ready for this year because we have a bench and a guy who will play it. Matas, baby. If you are a fan of preseason basketball and you are a fan of overhyping things on Twitter before there's ever been a real game played this year, this is the guy to bet on. I'm doing it. And look, I say that in jest because leaning into an angle is not a bad idea, especially when it's 18-1 and you feel like you have a very strong case. Here's my strong case, Nate. Not only has this dude looked legit in a preseason game against all of the Cavs starters, not backups. He played 24 minutes against Cavs starters. I say against. So like, and top 8 rotation guys, right? So, and he's in the starting lineup. And here's the main reason that I was ready to jump on Matas, and I'm almost a little bit upset that ESPN's been playing so many highlights of him in preseason, because it's definitely uncovered him. Guess who led the team in scoring from February 20th after the All-Star break on? I'll just spoil it. It's Matas Buzelis. He also led the team in field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, which is just everywhere. He was getting to the line 4 times a game, added the 3.5 assists and the 3.5 rebounds as well. Only turned the ball over twice, 1.8 blocks. Pat Williams was a thing of the past, right? His minutes from that time on, they were at 23. But if you dumb this down to March to the end of the season, this goes up to 33 minutes per game for Matas. So he was already on his way. And I don't think that gets factored in to the most improved player when you talk about looking at just season-long stats from 2024-25. It's going to be a big leap into 25-26, but it's not going to be that big a leap from the end of 24-25, which is what you can use as a really solid use case for why, if he does this, extrapolate this to a full season, he's going to go from like a tier 5 player who people thought was like maybe the 6th best player on a middling team in the East to a top 2, 3, I think better than Kobe White this year kind of player. And he and Josh Giddey will look really good in a big lineup together.
Yeah, definitely a guy we want to invest in and back at times during the regular season. This award, it is always a debate whether it's like, a guy making the leap from all-star to like superstar, from fringe all-star to all-star. We'll see. He has the exact same odds as Giddey, who is expected to make a leap, but I don't know if he can ever get that award, Giddey, without playing much defense. And Buzelis is a little bit more of a complete player. Along those lines, I mean, Jalen Johnson at plus 4,000 for this award. It was pretty much his award before the injuries last year, right? So that is also worth a look if you're targeting this market. Look, we got to get to the Western Conference a little bit here. I know it's a little scarier to dip your toes in those waters, those shark-infested waters, rather than get the low-hanging fruit of the East. And that's why we're going under here for the Rockets at minus 115. I mean, minus 120 in some spots. And they're also minus 120 at the same book to go over the 3.5 seed. So are you telling me the 4th seed in the West is going to have 53 wins? I mean, I know it's a great conference, but like that is a very high number to not be higher on the playoffs scale, right? And obviously we know about the Fred VanVleet injury. That's going to be big. I mean, they were at one point, they lost their first 5 games when Fred went down last year. They finished 11-11, I believe, without him. There's going to be some issues here with Reed Shepherd if he's your full-time point guard. Doesn't look like they're making an effort to sign somebody else or trade for anybody else at this point. And I think the number is fixed where it was basically last year because of the Kevin Durant acquisition, of course. But I mean, KD's averaged 55 games. He's only getting older. I don't think his minutes are going to be up that consistently on a nightly basis. And I honestly think the Rockets need more consistent shooting other than KD. It just gets a little bit packed down there. And what he does is, obviously he fixes their offense to a degree, their half-court offense, their clutch offense. But what he does at the same time is take away a little bit of that youthful zest that won them so many games, right? When other teams are stuck in the dog days and the Rockets are just running and gunning, he takes a youthful guy off the floor. Right? And as great as he is, like they're not that same kind of like bulldog mentality that maybe leads to a few less wins. And if he does, get injured in some way, then you're right back to the same Rockets without Fred VanVleet that has no real offensive organization.
I kind of agree. I'm just talking to somebody before this about like, I am underwhelmed by the KD addition to Houston, at least relative to what it seems the market and, most importantly, the market and certainly just NBA buzz, right? I think KD just still holds that cachet somewhat incorrectly. I think if anybody's had empty calories in the last year or two, or at least since he was in Phoenix, it's Kevin Durant. I think everything in Phoenix has been empty, right, in terms of anything quality or points or positive. So, I'm with the outs here are high, and they're going to be starting Steven Adams, it sounds like, in game 1, and I think that's going to be how they play things with like a monster lineup, and then it's like Eason and Reed Shepherd coming off the bench. But Reed Shepherd doesn't seem to be like, he'll be the point guard But like people keep talking about how KD needs a point guard, and it's like, does he? Like KD doesn't want a point guard. He thinks he kind of is a pseudo point guard at time. He just wants to be on the wing and shoot over people. So like that doesn't seem to help an offense much. I'm in agreement with you here, and I'm throwing a lot of shade at a player that I love and think is awesome as a player, but I just think especially at this point in his career, he's not doing the other things like being an awesome defensive player like he was in Golden State to help his team win. So this right here, my man, Tyrese Maxey. I think there's a legitimate path to this, and it's this play of taking him to be the scoring leader on the season for 100-1 is predicated. It's not predicated. It was the catalyst was the intel coming out of Philly that they want him to be the lead of the offense, right? And I know that Joel Embiid is one of the best offensive players, most dominant that we have seen ever when you combine his skill, shot, and power down low. He's not that guy, and you can't expect him to be. And if you have a legitimate shot, like goal of getting to the finals and then getting to the playoffs and playing in the playoffs and actually beating teams in the playoffs, then you need someone else to be the guy that's the driving force every night. The Jason Tatum to the Celtics winning a championship, the Jokic to the Nuggets winning one, etc. The Steph to the Dubs, the engine, the true engine, and the guy that you're like, every night I know what I'm getting, this floor from Tyrese Maxey with a massively high ceiling. So last year without Joel, and here's what really I love about this. That's the last thing I'll throw about Tyrese. When you look at his numbers with and without Joel before last season, in the sort of 2 seasons prior, it's night and day. And it really matters that Joel doesn't play for Tyrese to excel and sort of start to be that guy that was on pace for the most improved player of the year. I believe he won it right a couple of years ago and all that because Joel is out, right? But last year, it's a lot different. Finally, he gets his assists up to almost like 6.7 per game with Joel playing, right? And his points go up about 4 per game when Joel sits. So he goes from 23.8 per game to 27.4 when Joel sits. So he's still scoring almost 24 with Joel, 4 boards per game, nearly 7 assists, 1.5 steals, 40 like 36 splits and 86 at the line. Everything is like these could be MVP numbers when extrapolated into a full season for a guy that's like on a team that gets a top 3 seed in the East. That's MVP talk, but you see what I'm saying in terms of scoring title being that important every night. So love this ability for him to keep going with or without Joel.
Yeah, and you said I capped Joel at 50 games this year. I mean, I think the Sixers would be thrilled if they got like 30.
Totally.
Yeah,
love it.
I mean, there's no chance he plays back-to-backs. Paul George's already not going to play at the outset here. And then, yeah, it's a lot of other guys who are gonna be just looking to free up Maxey for some buckets. And the path is what? Like SGA, there's so many blowouts that he doesn't need to score that much. Luka is facilitating. Giannis, who knows?
Yeah,
Those are the favorites, right? So, I mean, yeah, it could be a dark horse in this market. And just to get something here that's a little bit more of a sure ticket, if you want to just go ahead and put 1.7 units away and go and collect it in April, whenever this award will be announced, maybe a month after the season ends. As long as Victor Wembanyama does not get injured and he plays 65 games, this is his award, right? I don't think there's any suspense. If he's out on the court and he is standing there and forcing everybody, like just this waterfall effect of people running away from the rim and then causing turnovers on the perimeter for the Spurs guards who are able to just do whatever the hell they want because they have this unprecedented rim protector behind them. He has to get the award. He was going to get the award last year. Again, the injury happened. It seems like he is totally locked in and focused. And bringing it up a little bit in terms of the fate of the Rockets, you maybe want the Spurs plus 475 to win that tough Southwest division. I mean, they're at 44.5 wins. Maybe you take that. There are all sorts of specials you can get with Sir Wemby and the Spurs to win a certain amount of games. So just look into those if you want some plus money here. But I think this is a nice little safe nesting egg to put away for down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing can be a sure thing when you talk about the fact that guys can get hurt or whatever. But like the strings are off in terms of like, all right, this is like a newborn deer, like his rookie season. Let's just like slowly walk him out onto the court. He's still getting his legs underneath him, whatever. Like, man, the Hakeem effect is real in him now. I mean, it looks ridiculous. We definitely made a creative player and put him into the NBA, and now he's for real. So yeah, as long as he stays healthy, like this is true coming out party for Wemby this season, and this is the award that is like the clear most obvious one of them all. So love this, and playing high upside with the Spurs as well. Would prefer to play that rather than just like a regular season win over. Let's just get it, man. Let's just if De'Aaron Fox really is able to come back with a legit hammies good, pinky good. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle looks like he took another leap. Just want to throw another love fest at the Spurs for this season. But that is all the time we have for you in our futures looks here. We're going to be coming back, like we said, with the first night of the season here. Got 2 games back to back. Going to be talking about player props, best bets in that one as always. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and buckle up for the NBA season. Until we see y'all next, happy betting.